Smash!
Hey, today we're gonna be, I don't even have the energy for this one. The footage you're about to see is from about 5 months ago, or at least 5 months ago when I'm making it now. At the time, I was behind on sleep, at least 48 hours, maybe more, and I decided I wanted to paint something. And I asked my buddy Meaty, hey, what chapter should I paint? He said Star Phantoms. And I didn't quite paint Star Phantoms. I don't know what happened here. But I hope you enjoy it regardless. If you're seeing this now and you're not a channel member, well, you could have seen this about a year ago. So if you want to get access early to cool little videos like this, as well as the Q&As, you can become a channel member. This is for the future. These are the people from the past that were channel members that got to see it early. Okay, let's just get into it, dude. I'm tired. Okay, to start things out, the miniature I'm using is one of the original Primaris Marines from the original Dark Imperium set. I ended up finding him in a box with a bunch of old Dark Imperium Marines that I had over the years because I was kind of going through a Space Marine phase when I recorded this video. I don't even really remember doing this, but judging by the dates of the videos, this was about a week after the first core video dropped, so I'm guessing this guy just got severely sidelined. Though it's gotta mean something to be part of the pay-per-view series. Maybe this is what we'll call that. And if you haven't noticed, I have no idea what colors I'm using here. I assume this is Brain Matter Beige, as I did kind of go for a creamier color than what the Star Phantoms actually have. They are most definitely a much more cooler color. They are not really a cream color. They're very much a pale bluish white. Though some portions of this footage just kind of boggle my mind because this looks correct to me. I guess once it dried at this point, the zenithal kind of coolish undercoat showed through a little bit more. So it felt more online with the Marines themselves, but I don't know what happened. Again, I don't remember doing this. But once the color was at, I guess, 2 thin coats or whatever, man, it doesn't even really look fully opaque at this point. I didn't have my glasses on either. I started using some dark metallic silver because, of course I did. I'm just using this on all the little coils, the weapons, everything. Anything metallic, really. But I suppose I should answer why I was up for 48 hours plus at this time. See, when I recorded this, I was kind of going through a drought of really enjoying what I was doing on YouTube. And I hate saying that, because at the end of the day, this really is a dream job. Well, at the time, YouTube really wasn't making me much of anything. And I was really trying my best to kind of keep the artistic elements intact, while also trying to appeal to algorithm. And you know, that's one warning I gotta give you if you're gonna get into YouTube or do anything creative on YouTube. Analytics can really rot your brain. And the thing is I'm definitely not one of those artists that can just pull something out of my ass and not care about it. Even when I do kit bashing videos that are more easy for me to pull off, I still pour a lot of passion and love into what I'm building because I love kit bashing. But when it comes to painting things in the same week as editing, voiceover, all that shit, it really got to a point where I would work myself stupid. I'd work long hours to get miniatures done, I'd work stupidly long hours to make editing look as good as possible, even though almost every one of my videos has one editing error that I can't unsee. I would still keep going, and I would work myself so stupidly late that I would just lay in bed and not go to sleep. All I could think about is, let's get this video done. And again, I should reiterate that this was much earlier on in my career. It's gotten to a point where it's much easier to do what I do. And even then, even though it was incredibly stressful at the time, I just kinda did it because I loved it. I think the more and more as you grow, you can put in less effort and people will still want to watch. But I don't see any reason why I would ever want to do that. To me, my job has effectively become my creative outlet in conjunction with the miniature painting itself. I love editing. I love yapping about what I'm painting. I love yapping about the lore that maybe I don't 100% get right. Okay, the Warhammer stuff, I'm not 100% sure I was right on, especially the Angels Resplendent video. But when it comes to the core stuff, if I got it wrong, Mr. Core would hit me over the head with a golf club. But hey, just because you love something doesn't mean it can't stress the hell out of you. It's like people. Folks you love the most, things you love the most. They're typically the things that stress you out more than anything because you care about them. And I really do care about what I do. I know I say this a lot, but I am a sentimental guy. I really cannot fathom just not doing this anymore. I can't imagine not being mishmash anymore. It's definitely silly. I was gonna say maybe it's silly, but I know it is. But as somebody who has to explain to his parents that his job is to paint little men and small World War I anteaters and explain their lore, I feel as if I've found my niche in life. At least a significant stepping stone. And with how much the channel has grown and exploded, and the people that watch the content, and the people that really do seem to care, you guys especially, I just can't help but feel that this is something that I was meant to do. And not to get too fruity, but you guys are a big example of why I feel that way. So, I appreciate it. And honestly, I don't know. I think I have a pretty cool community. You guys are incredibly fucking talented, and I think that's really cool to see. A goal of mine throughout the years is to really showcase a bunch of artists that I think are really talented, but I haven't really gotten a chance to get their shit out there or get noticed. Not even gonna pretend that I didn't have a bunch of help when I first started the channel. A ton of YouTube friends that have put in their best effort to really help me out and showcase my shit, and I don't know. I want to do the same. I just really want to perpetuate that cycle, showcasing artistic genius from other friends and just, I don't know. Kind of getting off the rails with this one, but I don't know. I'm kind of enjoying the ride. But coming back to the model, I guess I should talk about this a little bit. I ended up using this really warm wash, as you can probably see, and it really did just kind of derail everything, because the idea was, I thought, ooh, I'll paint him grimdark, that'll be easy while I'm half asleep. But to me, it just feels like I completely derailed and he just doesn't look like a Star Phantom anymore. It's not even a bad scheme, it just doesn't feel like Star Phantoms. And once I actually had the wash completely dry, it doesn't look terrible, but this is where I kind of fell back into my base root instincts, and it just didn't work. I tried dry brushing over the entirety of the model using metallic silver, and I don't know why I did this, because it did just kind of wash everything out. I don't know why I did this over the leather, I don't know why I did this over all the metallics. The brain just completely turned into soup and I guess just poured out of my ears. It's just, I don't know. I didn't quite ruin it, but just not a very good decision. But I think in some ways I managed to salvage this scheme by using the same method, but I used dark brown mixed with some dark silver, I think. And the thing is, this really did bring back the kind of roughness of the armor, while not looking just weird, because a bright silver didn't really work on cream. Just doesn't make sense. But as you can see, I went really heavy with this. I really wanted to scratch and ding up the model to kind of bring it back to a grimdark style model. I don't often do this style, as it's not exactly my favorite way to do things. Obviously, I love adding in chips of sorts to armor. I love making it look just a little bit dinged up, because clean painted models are not my thing, especially Space Marines. But I think I realized, despite being incredibly half asleep, that there was no way I was going to be able to pull off something as clean as my standard. So everything short of using rust streaks or streaking grime, I just decided to go full dirty. Now once I was done with the initial dry brushing, I would add in some sepia and yellow ink on the Aquila, and I would add this on all the other metallic details that I wanted to be kind of a golder color. I would shade these down later on as time went on, and I would shade down all the metallics using some Oblivion black wash. I really wanted to feather this in. I had to be careful about really applying it to the cream portions, but overall, it's not like I was being clean to begin with. It was kind of fun to do, and I decided to kind of add onto the sword using a little bit of watered down Celestium blue. I probably could have used Guilliman glaze. I actually have one, but I thought Celestium blue was probably closer to what this is. Doesn't exactly look like Guilliman glaze to me. Now to kind of dull things down on the golder metallics, I used a little snakebite leather and I watered it down significantly, and I would also push this into the recesses of the armor. This is just to really shade things down. It probably is a little aggressive for the main portions of the armor, but who cares. I weathered this down more so later, so this is kind of a good precursor to other rusty colors that I want to add on. And then I would add on some stippling using a little bit of dark ivory. I believe this is dark ivory anyway. But this was kind of a weird choice, I think. Again, I was half asleep, so I wasn't exactly using my best judgment. But oddly enough, I think it actually did make the model pop a little bit. It kind of brings back the original cream color. It doesn't exactly look entirely dinged up to a point that it's unrecognizable what color he's supposed to be. And it was just easier than having me personally highlight all the little scratches on the armor. It just kind of worked out nicely. Also, this brush is just dinged to hell and back at this point. But I will say, after I had a little bit more fun with the metallics and whatnot, I would actually shade a little bit more using a combination of Oblivion Blackwash and a little bit of Battle Mud. This might have been overkill. I really wanted to focus this in the recesses, despite some of the recesses almost looking like they're brighter than the outer layers. But I don't know. I think it kind of works in some ways. It does make it look a little bit more grimy-esque. It doesn't exactly look like real cream color. It looks more so like the metal is peeling off from the elements. But that could just be subconscious copium. I don't know. Next, to weather him down a little bit more, I decided to add a little bit of Parasite Brown mixed with orange into the main portions of the armor and the silver metallics, and significantly watered down Nihilok Oxide onto the golder patterns. This was definitely messy, but I think it kind of worked actually. I think what helped with this model is I treated it more like a canvas rather than an actual figure. I know you could say the same with a lot of them, but hear me out. Basically, instead of focusing heavily on everything on the model and making sure everything stood out the way it should, I just wanted to add in the cool colors in the right places, and just kind of add in what felt complementary to whatever I saw. Or at least that's kind of what I hope I thought. I just kind of went by ear. Maybe it is just a bit of subconscious mind just working in tandem with just a tired brain. But I would end up lighting up the bronze metallics using a little bit of light bronze, and I think this kind of made things... I don't know, maybe it was a little too light. I think it's accurate for what they look like, but the combination of the cream armor with a light bronze highlight just felt a little weird. If I were to go back, maybe I would go a little lighter on this, or maybe just not highlight it and leave it as is. But I don't know, I still kind of like how it looks despite it being kind of blended together. He feels uniform, and I think the silver stands out enough to really differentiate him from the golden metallics. But I guess I kind of view this figure as, yeah, this is what happens when a color is exposed to heavy elements. It might not look ideal for what you'd want on the battlefield, it doesn't look complementary as well, but that's just the reality of what happens to paint. But as a means of adding even extra visual interest, and just because I wanted to test out the paint, I used some dry blood from Army Painter, and I quite like how it looks. I feathered it on, and I didn't want to make it look incredibly grungy all over the armor. I just wanted some speckles, and I'd water some of it down just to make it look a little bit less prevalent on the armor. And I think that kind of helps because it doesn't completely take away of the original paint job. It just looks like a nice little flick of something. If there's one thing I would go back on is the head I painted ended up having blonde hair, and I think if I would have painted the hair like black or something, that would have really caused some good contrast. The blonde hair, despite looking fitting for this head, just doesn't work for me. It just kinda distracts, I think. And it wouldn't be that hard to repaint over this, and I might still do that. Maybe. I don't think I want to do that, actually. But regardless, I'm pretty happy with this figure overall, considering I was completely behind on sleep and I had no idea who I was or where I was when I was painting him. It was kind of fun. I don't exactly ever want to do this again. If I'm going to zone out while painting models, I'd rather have it be on my own terms. Mostly just, I'd rather be conscious and choosing to be unconscious rather than just being very, very tired. Well, at the end of the day, I got a video out of it, and hopefully you enjoyed it. I will say there's probably plenty of extra backlog footage that I have to make more videos like this, so if you like it, make sure you let me know down in the comments. And if I actually do upload this, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe, share it with a friend, and remember to mishmash, kit bash, and paint some fantastic miniatures. And you're gonna. I promise. See ya.